to my computer, yelled at that. Just hit turn your camera off, and I'll be warning people as they come in. So the first question comes from my mate Connor in Chicago, and Connor was wanting to know about how do you develop a vocal melody. So your voice is the most distinctive instrument you have. I am surrounded by bits and bobs and all of this shit, and it ultimately it's just icing on the cake. The actual cake itself is, I believe, the music that supports your voice. And the funny thing about your voice is that you're going to hate it. No matter what you do, you're going to hate your voice. That's why Kraftwerk use lots of vocoders. That's why Ministry cover their voice in distortion, because people hate their voice. It's just a thing. Get used to it. So you've also got to remember that before you even decide to sing, for those people who say, I can't sing, I have no singing voice, you've already got a toolkit of vocal tricks at your disposal. That is, if you're angry with your little brother, you scream at him. And you've been doing that your whole life. When you're talking gently to your kitten, you have a gentle kitten voice. When you're in general conversation, when you're speaking loud at a show, you've been developing all of these vocal sounds, vocal onsets your whole life. So all you have to do is go, okay, I'm going to think of these things musically now. This part here, I'm going to be talking as if I'm speaking to my kitten. This part here, I'm going to be talking like I'm a grade 8 kid telling ghost stories around the campfire. I just happen to have a torch here, don't ask. This part here, I'm going to be screaming. And whether you can hold pitch or not, that's something that comes as the more you work on your voice. And it's important that when you decide you're going to make a vocal melody, do it within what you can do. Because a problem a lot of people do is they'll sit down at a keyboard, come up with a really cool melody and try and sing that, but they don't have the vocal chops to deliver it, so they give up. What you should be doing is firstly writing music that is supportive, writing lyrics that are supportive, like of a vocal flow. And secondly, if you want it to sound like really heavy, put on Rage Against the Machine and yell your lyrics or speak your lyrics over Rage Against the Machine. Or if you want it to sound beautiful, put on Kate Bush. Everyone go listen to Kate Bush, because holy shit, Kate Bush. Vocal production off crazy. Still, I got Hounds of Love. Wife bought me Hounds of Love the other day on vinyl. I know, right?
Oh,
And it's still, oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, and when you listen to her and PJ Harvey, they're not always just, here I am holding the note. It's, I'm going to talk a bit now, and then I'm going to sing, and then I'm going to move. Bob Dylan's another genius at this. Here's the note. I'm going to tap that note every now and then. Then I'm going to go back to kind of like talk wailing. So you have to figure out what it is you can do. So yell over Rage Against the Machine, talk gently over Bat for Lashes, whatever it is you want to do, or kind of croon over Depeche Mode. See how your voice sits over these musics and record your voice doing that. And if you are suited to every now and then nudging on melody, then do it. It's nice to have a little keyboard or something that you can be trying to truck your pitch with. And a trick with melody is, so there's the minor pentatonic scale, and that's a really important scale to learn, and that's basically all the black notes. So each note, whenever you're in, for example, the key of C, the minor pentatonic is going to be C, E flat, F, G, B flat, C. And if you listen to REM, everything they do is minor pentatonic. And that guy has like a vocal range this long, but my God, he can use it so well. Michael Stipe? Thank you. He's got a very, should I say, limited range, but he uses it brilliantly. Um, so that's how I think you should play around with doing a vocal. And if you start with your voice and not with the keyboard, you will come up with something much better, because you are actually using the instrument it's going to be performed on. Zap. Somebody asked me a question.
Um, Zoog, I actually wanted to know how you got started in making music. Like, were you a kid that made a lot of
Yes.
music, or?
My start in music's really weird, and I'll be short on this because I want this to inspire you guys asking me questions about your music. But just really quickly, I was brought up in a small country town called Kingaroy, which is the Aboriginal word for giant meat ant that will tear your flesh off in about 1 minute. Seriously, it will, and it jumps. It jumps. Anyway, um, and my grandfather was a welder, and he would build stuff. It was a farming community, and he built machines to pull the peanuts. And he wanted a little boy. Instead, he had a little girl. That was my mum. So mum got brought up around welders and around all of this other stuff, and she had the coolest go karts in town. And anyway, the guys that worked for him became his apprentices, and then they started their own businesses. And when I was born, my granddad tragically passed away when I was only 6 months old. And those apprentices and my mum helped me find engineering. So I have actually a background in arc welding and grinding, and I was into grinding before I was into industrial music. I was building the most deadliest go karts you have ever seen. They were awesome. And so as a kid, I was brought up in a big warehouse the size of a hangar where they were building peanut pullers and mechanical machines and mayhem. So I had grinders down the end of the thing and people dropping massive pieces of metal and it would clang and reverb up. So I was brought up in the sound of industry. I know what arc welding flux smells like and the smell of grind, ozone, and burning metal. And all of that stuff was it was brought in. It was a part of me. And then my grandma on my dad's side actually played music in the silent films. So she taught me piano or tried. Steph, welcome. Thanks for your video, by the way.
Hi.
It's perfect. We're just briefly touching on my background. So I did organ lessons with my grandma, and instead of trying to figure out what she was trying to teach me, I was trying to figure out how to play Duran Duran because that's what my sister listened to. And then one day at the age of 13, I discovered Depeche Mode's Construction Time Again, and everything made sense. And then I saved up and bought my first synthesizer, which was a Casio CZ3000, which is a piece of crap, but got me through. And then I ended up going to university, where I discovered this thing called industrial music. And then I think I was in second year, and everybody thought I was a freak because they were all doing jazz and I was smashing bits of metal. I discovered a band called Skinny Puppy, and the album was Too Dark Park. And it's funny. I remember because we were studying like experimental music at the Frank Zappa and Schoenberg and Cage at that time, and they were playing some of Frank Zappa's crazy stuff. And I said, "Oh yeah, I've recently discovered this amazing band from Canada called Skinny Puppy." And I played it in front of my class and my professor, and he goes, "This is shit, Carl. It's just fucking noise." And they were his words because it's Australia. And I was really taken back by that because it's like, this is not noise. This is organized sound that has been geniusly put together with samplers. And I'm not sure where the use of samplers ends and the use of acoustic banging on metal begins. I can't hear it. And I was studying music production at the time, and I was so impressed. And the other thing that really hit me hardest was that I finally found something that pisses off my professor. And it pissed off my class, and they hated it. And I went, "Well, cool, let's go." And then I found other people who were cyberpunks and started bands, and it was good fun. And here I am. And I stopped making music in my 20s. I was working for Microsoft as a sound designer, and I regret that. I stopped for 5 years. And if I was to go back and give myself one piece of advice, it would be do not stop, write albums. The first 20 songs, so that's the first album, is going to suck. Sorry, Melissa?
And also invest in Zoom if you had to go back in time.
Yeah,
invest
yeah.
in Zoom and
and yeah, and yeah, just never stop, because this is a discipline like this is a martial arts discipline. And actually, I do some work with a group of martial artists who do a project called Justice for Hire, which is being released soon, and it's kind of awesome. And I have long conversations with these guys, and some of them have studied Shaolin with Shaolin monks, and we will have long talks about the similarities between the discipline of karate and music quoi. Yeah, okay, there you go. Another question. Oh, by the way, Steph, this is being recorded. And it's mainly for the Patreons and people on the Kickstarter. So if you're uncomfortable, please let me know, and or kill your feed. But you look fantastic, and everything's green, so keep it. Somebody asked me a question.
I don't mind being recorded.
All right, cool. Yeah, your death scene was fantastic. And a reminder, I've put a another video up, and I'd love you guys to help me out on it. And it's slightly more ambitious than the last one because it's ridiculous. And I just sent you the link. So if you want to get involved, please. It's going to be crazy fun. Someone asked me a question.
I'll go. Okay. So I know you've covered this a lot before, and I've seen it in one of your blipverts from a long time ago, but I always hate my lyrics. They always feel really basic, and what can I do about that, I guess?
Okay, first thing to address is the rhyming scheme. So you want to avoid what's called A, which is the cat sat on the mat and it scratched his back, and that was that. That's A. And you can get away with that if you're the Ramones. Now there's AB, which is the cat sat down gently. Oh shit, what rhymes is gently? All right, the cat licked, the cat played with its nip on its back with its friend Chip. AB. Or you can get really complicated. So you get the AB thing, where you go ABAC, and then the next verse is DBDC. So the fourth and the eighth eighth lines rhyme with each other, and you're alternating the rhyme. Another really cool thing to do is not, because it's the rhyme that fucks shit up always. Another cool thing to do is have near rhymes. So if you go to like rhymedictionary.com, it'll give you the percentage of the rhymes, and near rhymes is like cake and face. And if you want to hear really good examples of that, listen to a band called Crowded House, who were also Split Ends, who are amazing, who were in the 70s. That's Neil Finn writing incredible pop songs at the age of 17. Bastard. And their rhyming schemes are always really good. Same with PJ Harvey. Now, another really cool thing to do as well is don't necessarily describe the scene. Like, so your song takes place, you've broken your heart or something, I don't know. Describe what's going on around it. Describe how the stairs are never going to hear your voice again, or describe the song from the perspective of the stairs, or from the perspective of a ghost that lives in the house. I personally like to base everything around the concept of horror. So I will try and paint something in the guise of it being a demon, or a ghost, or a omnipotent evil power that you're battling with. And that thing might be your self-image, or how you fear you're never going to get a job, or how society's buggered, or whatever. But if you put these thoughts that you're trying to describe onto another thing, and then you have a conversation with that thing, it comes really cool. An example of that is Closer by Nine Inch Nails, where arguably the lyrics are a conversation between the needle and the user. You let me violate you. You let me penetrate you. Da 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 da. When you listen to the lyrics, you can see how arguably one side is the user saying how you empower me, and the other side is the needle saying I want to fuck you like an animal. I want to feel you from the inside. Where it's you know what I mean. So this is about storytelling, and you can take it to the most David Lynch abstract that you want. The thing to remember about lyrics is that people are going to bring baggage to a song, and it's not just the lyrics, but it's the magic that's going on behind it. It's the it's the atmosphere, it's the spirit of the lyrics of the song that people are going to hear. For example, Hotel California. Can somebody tell me what that song's about? Let's start a fight right now. No, I don't think anyone knows what that song's about. And that's what's fantastic about that song is, also a lot of the Beatles songs, like She Keeps Her Face in a Jar by the Door. Like, huh? But it's that sort of abstract little thing that you throw in every now and then that adds to the mystery of the lyrics and of the song. And like I said, remember, it's like a horror movie. You don't even have to show the monster. You can just show its shadow, its claws, or its saliva. And people who are in their mind are going to go, oh my God, it's the alien, until you actually show it. And lyrics, you're dealing with the same brain that loves pattern recognition and loves going, taking bits and pieces and putting them together in a place that represents a sense to itself. So if I string a whole bunch of words together that are provocative words, somebody who thinks this is going to go, oh my God, yeah, that's about that. Somebody who's into this thing over here, they hear those words, they're going to go, oh, it's kind of talking about this though. But where in actual fact, it's not. And something I like doing is watching horror. If I get into I hate writing lyrics. And I always go on about horror because horror and comedy are fundamentally the same thing. You either go, ah, or you go, ah, ha, 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 ha. Same fucking thing. And stuff like the Brothers Quay, who are those animators? I think they're Czech animators. Really creepy shit. Stuff like that, or that evokes thought and evokes image. David Lynch. I'll always go back to Lynch. Watch Eraserhead. Somebody tell me what the hell that's about. and whatever ideas you have, weave it into that abstract thing, that abstract idea. Does that answer the question? Not really.
It's good.
All right. If you have any other questions on this, let's pull it out because this is a big one.
Oh man. I mean, that did help inspire some ideas for a project I've been working on for years. So.
Okay, I got a question for you. With your lyrics, are they just a whole bunch of ideas in a text pad?
Not really. When I start writing my stuff, I start out with a concept of what I want the entire album to be, because I'm more of a storyteller than I am a musician.
Cool.
So I have an idea of what I want the album to say, but whenever I write the lyrics, like I'll write them, I know what a song is supposed to be about, and I'll kind of write the lyrics. So the problem I have is they always sound really, nothing really seems clever.
All right, I'm just going to back you up. My internet connection is unstable. You said that they sound, and then you dropped out. What word did you use?
They sound just really simple.
Sure.
Pretty basic. I don't know how else to describe them. Plebeian, I guess.
Sure. Well, that's my idea, is to inject things into it that are not actually necessarily a part of the strength of the narrative. Throw some words in there purely to paint image. Like I am heavily inspired by Sonic Youth lyrically, and even the name Angelspit is from a Sonic Youth song, Orange Rolls Angel Spit. And their lyrics to me are great. But then if you look at a song like Gary Newman's Cars, which turned 41 yesterday, incidentally.
Oh yeah.
It's and then remind me, Melissa, I want to talk to you about something artists were doing in the 16th century that you might find cool. Those
Okay.
lyrics are so, here in my car I feel safest of all, I can lock all my doors, it's the only way to live in cars. And it's a global hit. And then you got the other end of the scale, which is Duran Duran. Like, listen to Duran Duran lyrics and tell me what the hell is going on. Like, they're really abstract. And then abstract. Girls on film. You know, what the fuck? And you listen to the Reflex, and it's like, what? You know, what? What? The Reflex is an only child who what? It doesn't matter. It was a hit. And that's the thing, is that people are going to come to it and go, okay, this is cool. Remember, doesn't matter what you do, you're going to hate the lyrics. You're going to hate the music. And once it's out there, and once it's been created as a song and you've had time to forget about it, you will probably, after a few years, be able to listen to it and not throw up. I am only listening to Black Dog Bite now. Kind of, I'm actually still on the product, or Cult of Fake, and that was 4 years ago. It takes me that long, and that's common for an artist. I'm done. I don't want to talk about it. Talk to me about it in 4 years. But anyway, inject it with random shit. Color. Now, if I can just, so Melissa, just keep painting. FYI, so there was this thing that artists were doing, certain artists in the 1500s, they would paint a painting, and so pretend that's the painting there, pretend that's a beautiful painting. And if you looked at it from that angle there was a different painting there, because they painted this perspective into it. And excuse me, if you get a chance, research this, because it's a really cool thing. And they would paint extreme perspective into it. And there's a whole bunch of these like famous pre-Renaissance Middle Ages kind of paintings that are all very religious and all very beautiful, but they've got all this subversive stuff in it that when you hold it like this, you go, oh my God, there's skulls and people touching each other's nudie bits. And research this, because I see that and I go, wow, okay, so how do I do that lyrically? How do I do that musically? How can I infuse some overarching idea into this that is going to get inside someone's head just for shits and giggles? All right,
That's
somebody
an
else asked me.
interesting idea. I've seen those.
Go, yes.
And they look good, so that's a good idea.
Yeah, fuck around with that shit. And that might include having a long, drawn-out sound that's stretched through the whole song. You know, or backmasking. Backmasking's fun because, you know, when you get passed by Coca-Cola and Mars bars, there's actually something really nice about the sound of the voice when it's backwards. And you could be speaking something that is gobbledygook and then wind that backwards. It's a really, really interesting way. And when people hear that, they freak out. They go, and if you put backwards whispers, pan them hard left and hard right in certain places of your song, it will effectively freak people out. It will add, there's Shaya. Oh God, here she comes. It will add to the it'll add to the horror of well, if you're trying to achieve horror or unsettling nature. All right, someone asked me a question. Mez, weren't we going to talk about software or something?
Not that I know of, but I'd love to.
Okay,
I have Cubase.
excellent. What version?
What version is it?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean,
I don't know.
pick a number between 1 and 10. 5 and 10.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to figure out how to use it, honestly. I don't have much experience with making music.
Cubase is excellent. I'll just say that certain software, it's really funny that certain software relates to certain ways of thinking. Like some people, it's Logic, like the software Logic. Logic suits their brains. For other people, it's Ableton. For others, including myself, it's Cubase. Ultimately, and then there's Pro Tools. As far as the quality goes, it doesn't really matter because everything now has the capability of recording, 32-bit 96K. It's fine. Doesn't matter. So my advice with Cubase and all software is get to know the basics. And just get to know those basics. And you might do, because there are free online tutorials about it. You might go, okay, this week I'm going to focus on MIDI and advanced MIDI, like the logical editor and stuff like that. And then the week after that, I'm going to look at how to record my voice and how to record stuff. Then I'm going to look at pitch correction, and I'm going to look at using the effects and using EQ and all that stuff. Slowly, baby, slowly. It's a journey. So step one is, get used to the idea of the bricks in Cubase. Mess, do you play any instrument?
I just a little bit of piano.
Okay, so when you input into Cubase, do you use the piano or do you use the pencil to type in bricks?
Oh, I have a little chord nano key I've been trying to. Woo! I always have trouble hooking stuff up for some reason.
Okay.
Yes, but that's what I'm trying to use.
All right. A word of advice. Cubase has a thing called iterative or something. It's basically human quantizing. I can never remember what the hell it's called. And what it will do is it will push stuff towards the quantize. It won't just go snap hard quantize. It'll push it gently towards it. I advise that you play as much into your keyboard via your keyboard as possible for a human feel. And then you may or may not choose that it's worth keeping that feel. You might want to go more robotic or you might want to go human, but there is something about the human feel in all music that the more it's in there, the more punk it is, the more rough and gutsy. And I don't know what sort of music you're into, but or beautiful and emotive. Now, a problem you might have with that keyboard is that I don't know how good the action is. So how accurate the time you hit the note to the time it goes into the computer and it registers, I don't know how good that is. And that's a thing you're going to have with all keyboards. But although it's USB, I would assume it's pretty damn fast.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually have been liking they have a function where you can use your computer keyboard, which is sort of cool.
Okay, cool. Your USB controller will actually, I don't know about that. I was about to say your synthesizer keyboard will be better, but I don't know. But that's a really cool function that you can do that. I don't even know about that function. Anyway, looks like I should be doing more tutorials on how the hell to use Cubase. But so once you've got it all in there, roughly, you can use this quantize to push it towards the beat more until you're happy with it. Because getting that human feel, it makes the music more relatable, I think. And I often put stuff in with bricks and then I'll move it around using the groove quantize. So it will push it this much of a percent off the 16th note because that's where the funk is. That's where the groove is. The groove is basically what's the way you treat a 16th. And it's the difference between daka 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 and daka 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 daka. That more kind of funk feeling. And the more if you do a song that is basically the bass, the hats, the kick, everything is just hard quantized to 16ths, i.e. robotic, it's going to sound robotic. The thing about Kraftwerk is Kraftwerk played a lot of their stuff. Jean-Michel Jarre, the lords of electronic music, play a lot of their music. Kraftwerk basses, I think they're actually played. A lot of them are played, I think. Anyway, but yeah, so trying to get as much human feel in there as possible. But when you start like putting the 16ths of the hi-hat or whatever and the bass note and some little synth sound is played by hand and slightly corrected towards the beat, you will hear the song starts having this natural quality in it. It starts moving more. And that can be, you know, you don't have to play the entire song. You can just play a bar and loop it. Because ironically, the next thing you do is you go looking for a drum loop or something, or a shaker to add more of a human element in there, where you could be doing that from the beginning and using the software to kind of like clean it up a little bit. Yes. And also using a keyboard is a really fun way to get ideas into the keyboard, into Cubase. And me personally, if I sit down at Cubase with a blank template, I will get nothing done. I can't, nothing's going to come. Music comes to me at the weirdest times. As I've said before, I'm not lucky enough to be one of those people who can sit down at a synthesizer and go patch. Oh, wow, that inspires a song. That doesn't for me. I'm really practical because that's just how my brain is. So then once all this really rigid practicality's in there, I then have to infuse it with chaos. And that's why I use this shit to inject as much chaos into it as I can. Otherwise, I would be creating the most boring fucking music you've ever heard.
I sort of wanted to know like where the balance is between like getting inspired and knowing that you wanna like maybe you have an idea for a song, or maybe it starts with like you're messing around on synths and you have a sound that you want to build a song out of.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good question. Does anybody else have a question? Sorry. You have to figure that out. And I used to be in a band called Jekyll Switch, and if you get a chance, Google Jekyll Switch because we rocked. It was like fucking mayhem. And we had a joke that our songs were all sitting in therapy, and the songs were saying, "Oh, I wanted to be this crazy surf punk rock song that was really fast, but the band forced me to be this other song." And then another song goes, "Oh, I wanted to be this really slow, sexy, dark thing, but the band forced me to do this other thing." And all we'd have to do is say to each other, you know, this song's going to be in therapy and it's going to be your fault. And we'd know exactly what we were talking about because it's like, it's this balance. And no matter what your creative discipline is, you've got an idea and suddenly in front of you, there is this organism, this life form, which might be a song or a painting or a piece of fashion or whatever, and or an idea for a script. And you want to take it somewhere else. You desire to push this thing, to force it to work with this other idea that's sitting over here that you've been trying to work so hard. And in doing so, you crush it and you kill it. And letting go of that control is really difficult. It's something that I'm still grappling with because I can't stand wasting ideas. But the thing to remember is that the human mind just oozes ideas. It oozes ideas are just solutions. It's the same as problem solving. It's what you do. So you can throw it away. It doesn't matter. Another one's going to come up. You don't have to make a fucking pop song out of that. It doesn't matter. You can sit it over there. It might get used or not. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to know if you have do you have a notebook or do you tend to keep stuff on your computer?
I have a notebook. That's my notebook, and it's full of really dumb words, and and stupidness. And it's funny. I have a notebook still with me. They're always moleskins, and it's always a nice pen. Always. Um, and I've got a moleskin in there that is Blood Death Ivory. I found it. Wow, and it's like none of this stuff actually ended up being the songs. They were just the ideas. So in answer, yes, I do have I got a moleskin. A lot of lyrics go on my phone. I can't notate music very well on my phone, like I can sing into it. I have simple applications for that. Um, it's when you listen to AC/DC or Rage Against the Machine, and I pick those bands because they are the best riff bands ever, and you work out what they're playing, you'll be disappointed. Because what they're playing is so rudimentary and so simple and so incredibly well executed. Like terrifyingly well executed. Also, Devo's another one as well. And that's it. It's a simple idea that you can write down, and a kid can probably play it on the piano or sing along with. That is then fleshed out. And a lot of great songs. Sorry, if you want to pull me up, just tell me to stop because I'm going on a rant. A lot of the great tracks are just one riff. An example of that is The Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson. One riff. Except there's a time to discriminate, hate every motherfucker. Da 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 da. And every single song by Stevie Wonder. Actually, not all of them. A lot of them. Where it's that concept of riff orientated thing, and it's that sort of you could play that riff and you can just throw yourself into a trance and all these other ideas. It's such a circulating around it. It's such a stable, strong riff that you could build a fucking house on that. And that's what they do. They pull all of these other things because that riff is so strong. And that riff is always the minor pentatonic, the black notes, always. Except Beautiful People and Just One Fix. They have a flat 5 thrown in there as well. But you get my point. So back to the original question is that's something that you've got to figure out. And you have to be free enough to find out where this song, it wants to take you, and it wants to take you on a journey. First and foremost, you, the composer, it's going to take you on a journey. And then once it's done, you're going to tell everyone about that journey and say, come along on this journey with me. And that's exciting. When you think about that as an artist, you are making contact with some life form that is taking you on a journey if you let it. Wow, that's cool. Did that answer? No, it didn't answer your question.
It answered a lot.
All right, I'm getting caffeinated. Somebody ask me another question.
This isn't really a question, but it kind of goes along the inspiration. When you did your zines for each of your albums, that really kind of inspired me to do that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I haven't been very good at it, but I did get a Polaroid camera, so I could go around and take pictures and like write snippets of lyric ideas on there. And
that's amazing. That's great.
So that
keep going.
That
I want to give you an idea.
Okay.
All right.
That one just kind of gives me help. That's it.
Okay. Do you have a printer?
Yes.
Okay. So here's a zine trick. Damn it, wrong box. Give me a minute. Damn it, I can't find them. I've got a hold on. I've got a whole bunch of overhead transparencies somewhere, and they are the zine maker's best friend because you can print lyrics onto them and then put them on top of another part of your zine. And this is now going back to Vox Populus, which was the zine distro that Amelia originally ran, and then she bequeathed it to me, and then that actually became Angelspit, where we would make zines. And the cool thing about transparencies is you can print out a whole bunch of stuff to fit like strips, like film strips with the sprockets in them, like 16 mil. And in each window, be putting something in there. And either you cut them out and stick them in the zine, or you cut out them separately and stick them in a whole bunch of zines. You can be, there's a form of paper called velour, which is like semi-opaque. So if you sit it on top of something, you'll kind of see what's below it. You can print on that stuff as well. The cool thing about a OHP, overhead transparency paper, is if you print inversed and then you sit it down that way, you're protecting the print because the print's touching the bottom print, you know what I mean? And it's also got this gloss to it. Like the original run of Nurse Grenade was all, that's what we did in that. Zines are fantastic. And actually, Mess, if there are lyrical ideas or supporting ideas that never make it into the songs, put them in the zines.
Mm.
And if you want inspiration for zines, look at the movie Seven. The opening credits is the guy making his zines over the top of the best fucking remix of Closer to God. And the movie closes with Bowie singing Heart's Filthy Lesson. Does life get any better? No, it doesn't. From my favorite Bowie album, Outside. I'll stop now. And another inspiration is something I've just totally forgotten. Prospero's books. Because it's Peter Greenway, it's arty, and it's fucked up. No idea what's going on, but they're not eating people in this one, and it's great. And I had something else for the zines as well, but I got sidetracked. But zines, they're great fun. And if you allow them to become, think of them as a printed out version of tweets. David Carson, who did Raygun. Just give me 30 seconds here. We're just going to allow me to rant here. Give me a sec. I want to make sure I'm spelling this brilliant man's right. David Carson. Oh, he's the man. All right. So this is an artist who's an American artist who basically took the concept. He had a skateboard magazine called Raygun. I don't want to assume. I heard a rumor that he had absolutely no background in anything. He just had a scanner, a printer, and so I got a scanner, and he just made the craziest shit you've ever seen. Beautiful artwork that is grungy. Oh my God, it is the 90s. Definitely, I want you to Google this guy. He's inspiring. And if you see what he does to typography and the way he ruins text, he rejoices in the idea of destroying the art to make it something fantastic. It's like a shredded Banksy. It's just beautiful. He actually did an ad campaign for Coca-Cola where they said, here's a whole bunch of money. Go make us an ad that's edgy. He went, cool. So he got a Coke can, stomped on it, took a photo of it with a Polaroid, and wrote under it, coked. And then show you. Come here. So, yeah, she was at the vet yesterday. She's good. It's all right. She has kidney problems, but we finally figured out. Yeah, we had a big ultrasound, and we've finally figured out what's up with her. And so she's on crazy antibiotics to get her back to normal, if there is a normal, for my fantastic mischief of distraction. Anyway, so yeah, and this is a really great example where other disciplines feed into your music. Like my mother-in-law's a painter, and we can talk for hours about her creative process and my creative process and how they feed off each other. So go and stand all over my keyboards. Okay. And yeah, so yeah, David Carson, go get inspired, and the Brothers Quay. I should write that down as well. The Brothers. Q-U-A-Y. Hey, I hate my computer. Did I get this right? Yes, I got it right. Brothers Quay. All right, I want you to look into these guys as well. Bam! Very inspiring. Somebody else asked me a question that I'm not going to answer. Cat hair everywhere.
Someone new.
Are Maine Coons the best cats? Yes, they are. They
I
sing
agree.
very, very. You have one?
I used to, yeah.
Oh my God! Did your cat? Were they a singer?
Yeah.
Yeah, at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They're great. They're great, and they scratch. Anyway, all right. Someone asked me a question.
I know I'll have more questions when I sit down to actually apply this.
All right. Now was it Annabelle? Anna. I forgot your name. I'm so sorry. Isabel.
Yeah, it's Sarah.
Sarah. I'm sorry, Sarah.
That's okay. Yeah.
And get ready, Judith. You're next. I want a question. Go.
I guess something I need help with is my music is very pretty and I want
Okay.
it to sound crazier and harder, and I'm not really sure how to get that sound.
Easy. Okay. So is it the vocals that sound pretty or everything?
No, because I scream, I distort my vocals. It's just I write keyboard parts and and piano parts and they're very pretty, but I want like a good contrast between hard and soft.
Okay. All right. So what's your musical knowledge like?
I produce.
So
I use.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I use Reaper as my DAW, and I play piano and sing.
Great. So if I said to you a whole bunch of minor, like to go from C minor to E flat minor to F sharp minor to A flat to A minor, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Do that. Whatever the chords are you're using, the first thing is get out of the diatonic mindset. So don't be going, okay, well, this song's in D minor. Why is it in D minor? Why? Because it's the saddest key of all. Oh my God, that's Spinal Tap. Holy shit, you've never even heard of Spinal Tap. Fuck this. I'm ending the meeting. You're done. Watch Spinal Tap. Oh my God.
Writing it
So-
down. Watch Spinal Tap.
Watch Spinal Tap, comma,
But
you
this one goes
fucker.
to 11.
Wow, thank you very much, Jeff. All right. So what you need to do is say it's in D minor and you wanted something dark and sad and angry, so you might go D minor to A minor. Fuck, I throw in a G because it's a bit of light. Then I'll go to F, bit of light. Then I'm going back to D minor. When that sort of stuff, that's the diatonic mindset, that all of the keys and all the notes that I'm hitting fall within D minor. And that's fantastic, but it can be a bit boring. An idea is while those chords are supporting the melody or the structural idea, make them all minor, every single one of them. So you're going to, and don't go from D minor to A minor, because that's diatonic within diatonic. So what you might do is you might go D minor, F minor, then go to A minor. Because F minor is going to pull the A flat. And A flat is the diminished fifth of D. So already you've got this twist of creep. And then when you go from F minor to A minor, when you go from F minor to A minor, something beautiful happens. And then as that A flat goes one semitone up to the A, natural, and that F of F minor falls one semitone down to the E in the A minor. So you get this feeling of the music creeping. and it's the most lovely thing. And uh, the thing about chords is that chords say, okay, this is the emotion I want you to feel right now. I want you to feel happy. Now I want you to feel sad. Now I want you to feel, I don't know anymore. Don't do that. If you're going to have chords in strings and in long piano lines, try and put them in instruments that are just tapping those notes, like an arpeggiator or a vocoder, a pad that's being run through a vocoder, so that, you know, like the voice, your voice is actually shaping those the sonic uh, contents of that sound. And if you can't do that, get a sound that's actually twisting and turning. It's got a phase on it, or it's got a wah wah or something like that on it. By doing these things, by changing the musicality and the production, you start bringing in creeps. We were talking about, excuse me, do you own a piano, an actual piano?
Keyboard.
All right, cool. If you start, I was going to say, if you've got a piano, pluck the strings and spin it backwards, or pluck the strings and leave it forward. And if you've got a half decent microphone, and you can get a good Rode, RODE microphone these days for like
Yep.
$300. If you record stuff like plicking of strings and or you make something that you can plick, or a spring that you can twang, or anything at all, just to be bringing into the music every now and then, instead of it being a hi-hat smash, it might be this like reversed pluck of a spring. And
Right,
you can
you
go to,
do that in that one song off of the new album, right?
yeah, I do that in a
With the
lot of this.
really cool effect. That's yeah.
Is it Hex and oh my god, Witch Hunt.
Jaeger.
Oh,
Jaeger
you
something.
suck.
Yes, I was listening to that this morning.
I actually have a friend who's really amazing, and I have to call her up sometimes. And I go, have I ever used this lyric? She goes, yeah, use that on Blood Death Over. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I knew it was. I was testing. Yeah, Hex and Jaeger, and also that was directed by Kino, and Kino is doing a video on the new. She did that was a soundtrack for a movie. She did a little movie. She's doing a video on the next album. But yes, actually, this is going to be weird. Give me a sec. Just give me 1 second. Talk among yourselves.
I have a joke. Oh, he's back.
So, welcome back. So this is one thing. Oh, you can't hear it. It's a happy apple. Can you hear that?
A little.
Yeah.
So this happy apple has got a spring mechanism in it that's hitting a whole bunch of wires, and those wires are making the freakiest fucking shit, and it's fantastic. And this is a really, really effective instrument. Happy. And I mic him up with this. This is a little pressure zone microphone, and you just gaff it on. You plug it in there, and I can record it like that, and I can get some beautiful sounds. I have to compress it, I have to denoise it a bit, but then if you start winding that backwards, it gets freaky. Something I love doing is building instruments. And this is the instrument I used on Hex and Jaeger. And so it's a salad bowl that I bought in, I got it at a thrift shop, and it cost me $1. And these are 1/8 inch steel rods that I got from Home Depot. I think that was like $2. There are several springs around it, and I just pulled that spring off. And the springs I got from Ace Hardware. I think they cost me $1. There's a bit of cabling. There's some springs here. I think I found them in a trash can. Do you see those springs just there? And there's 4 outputs here because I've got 2 mics on the wood. One's here and one's back here, and then on the inside I have 2 mics here. So I can make this thing up, and I can make it quadraphonic if I want. I wanted to create something that would create sounds similar to 7, the opening score of 7, where it's got, you won't be able to hear this, but you can't hear that. I'm basically scratching my finger down. Yes, I wounded my finger from making an instrument yesterday. By scratching those things, and those mics are going to pick it up beautifully. Add a bit of reverb to that, and it's great. You have to, like I said, you got to compress it. I also bought a bow off somewhere. It cost me like $20, and I'll bow this thing. Sounds demonic. I can rub the strings, these things here like that, or I can go over them with a coin or a piece of metal, and I can create sound. And doing all this sort of thing, and I've used this on so many albums. I should say tracks. I originally built this for the when Angelspit did the live soundtrack to Nosferatu, and it's awesome because it distorts beautifully. The sounds you can get out of this thing when you distort it are insane, and then you can have it beautiful and clean. But it's instant creep factor to anything at all. So even like in for Crunk House, I found this guitar in behind somebody dumped a guitar, piece of shit, and I sat the guitar down. It had strings on it and they were ruined. I tightened them up a bit. I got a salad bowl, a steel salad bowl. Put water in it and sat them over the springs. Then I put the microphone so it wouldn't fall into the bowl, but just above the water. And I strummed the guitar. And what happened is that as the water started gently moving around, you know how when you tap a bowl and it's got water, it goes bow, wow, 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 like that? Well, the strings were resonating. So you were getting the sound, the notes of the strings hitting the bowl, resonating it, because that bowl is a natural resonating chamber. And because of the water, it was going wow, 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 wow. And I got the idea from watching a documentary about how they did special effects for Star Wars. Because they used a salad bowl. And yeah, you can do this stuff at home for cheap. Get a broken salad bowl, run a string across the top of it, and twang it. And the harder you pull it, the higher that pitch goes. Use your microphone to record all that stuff. Try not to bang it or anything, because they're very loud sounds, contrary to the gentle sounds that you're trying to record. And when you start mixing that in with your creepy chords, I did a blip bird on creepy chords. And I if you search, hold on a minute. Give me 1 sec. Okay. I don't know where I put it. All right. Do me a favor. Email me. Or leave your email in the comment. I want to find this blip because it talks about how to put more creepy into your music, and it talks about using diminished fifths and using like consecutive minors and all of that sort of stuff, and just making shit more creepy. And I briefly touched on pedaling, and pedaling is the idea where you might have just the bass is in a D, and it's this really cool bass riff, harping back to our conversation about Stevie Wonder, Rage Against the Machine, and AC/DC. And then over the top of it, the chords that are kind of like clouds over the top of them are all, you know, going from D minor to A flat minor to F minor to, you know, all that crazy shit. B minor. That's all going to add to this thing. And when that's pedaling, that bass is just going to hold it down while the sky of hell is on fire, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
All right, somebody else. Ask me the question. Go. Oh my God, really? Come on.
Come on.
Bam, I found it. Oh, wow. Hold on a minute. Okay. Okay. I'm now putting in the, bam. I just sent a message. Sarah, that's the blip vert that goes into more depth about the, creepiness.
Very cool. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. All right, last question. Make it count. Judith, you
Ooh,
haven't.
the pressure.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to my life. So I've got hair up my nose from Shaya. Like, she's shedding because it's so hot. Come on, ask me a question. Steph. Steph,
Hmm?
ask me a question.
Oh gosh. I mean, I guess I don't have any good like technical questions like everyone else seems to because I'm not a musician, but I guess something I'd be kind of curious about is like how you kind of like started out and like advice for someone. Like I was in a band in high school. I kind of hopped from instrument to instrument. Like it didn't come naturally to me. So I guess I found I like felt overwhelmed and like got discouraged. Like how do you recommend kind of like moving past that as like a beginner?
Persistence is everything. And it's just absolutely everything. I was talking before about the similarities between martial arts and music. And I was having a conversation with somebody who was talking to me about, we were having this conversation about in World War II, a fighter pilot would climb into the cockpit with the assumption that they're already dead. And not that I mean disrespectful for those people who did that incredibly brave act, but as a musician, every time you release a track, you suck. You already suck. And that sounds really strange saying that, but if you place yourself in that position, nothing can touch you. And maybe, I know that sounds really weird saying that, but maybe as an Australian, because Australians are all about putting yourself down, if you already accept that you're shit, it's not just that they can't touch you, it's also that you are in a position of humility where you can learn. Most people give up music because they think they suck, or they think they're not going to go anywhere with it because they suck, or because somebody says something to them that is echoing the voice in their head that says, you suck. So if you become calm with that concept of suckdom, they can't touch you. As an artist, you're going to go through this long period of suckdom. And you just have to, you got to brave it. You need to know that a lot of the feeling that you have about yourself probably only exists in your head. It's like your voice or your creativity or your lyrics or your music or whatever it is. You think it sucks, but someone somewhere doesn't. Someone somewhere thinks that what you do is pretty fucking cool. And I've said this before in these meetings. All of us have we're all very like-minded creatively. So you've got, your audience is probably already here. And they're like literally, as a part of Angelspit's stuff, Angelspit's community and Stoneburners community and the Gothicals community, we're already there. Because when you come with the quirky shit and that's us. That's us. That's what we're into. You just need to overcome this concept of I suck, therefore I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna give up. It should be I suck and I don't care. I suck, and I know that if I persist at this in a few years, I'm not going to suck. And like I said, that it sounds really weird saying that, but that's the truth. As an artist, overcoming that lack of confidence, you have to embrace that. You have to challenge that, and you have to understand that this anger towards yourself is just an energy, and you have to utilize that energy. And you have to utilize that energy to say, okay, well, if I hate my lyrics, honestly, what of these lyrics are good? That word's good. That line's good. That one's okay. That one's shit. Then get rid of the shit ones, improve the okay ones, and keep the good ones. But you've got to be honest with yourself. You can't just go, everything I do is fucked. Which is different to saying I suck. But I hope you know what I mean by that. Like, you've just got to go one step ahead of the other. And you've got to be okay with the idea that the first few songs you're going to put out, just like any prototype of every single company, of every single thing that's ever been made, probably isn't going to work. That's why there's prototypes. That's why there's drafts. And that's okay. It's going to take a few to get it right, and you can't give up. You've got to keep going. And then you've just got to keep going. And it's funny, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but a friend of mine on Instagram said, "Do you know this girl?" And it was you. And I go, "Yeah, that's Steph. She's one of my friends." Yeah. And I said, "Why?" She goes, "I really like her clothes."
Aww.
So there you go. And she's
awesome.
one of us. Yes. She's one of us. And remember that I have this problem as well, that the next song that's going out in for the Patreon drop is called All Hail the Hustle. And it's my voice, and I'm singing really gently and really beautifully over music that is not gentle nor beautiful. It's actually very sleazy and fucked up, about content that's not beautiful or gentle. And I was listening back to it and I'm going, I hate this. I fucking hate this. And I just sat down and I went, it's a strong melody. The bass line's good. All the music's dirty. After I smashed away at it for like 20 hours, I beat it into submission. And I had to listen to the voice, and yeah, there's quite a few places in there that I went, I'm just going to go in there and pitch correct that bit. I'll leave that bit out of tune. I'm just going to knock those guys up. And the lyrics, I spent so much time in those fucking lyrics. I will look back at them and I'll say, you know what, they're not bad. And that's only because I spent 10 fucking hours on the lyrics. If I was like Brian, incidentally, Space Couch tomorrow, 3 o'clock, New York time, it's always a gas. Brian writes lyrics like that. Bam. We'll have some conversation. This is Brian from the Gossicles. We'll have some conversation about something stupid and fucking random. And Brian, 10 minutes later, will come up with 3 verses that are mind-blowing. The rhymes are perfect. The gags are perfect. It's like, how the fuck do you do it, man? And it's just his thing. He can do it because Brian's been writing music since he was an early teenager. And it's through the honing of his skill and persisting at it that he's got this thing right. You look at the art of Steve Archer from Ego Likeness and Stoneburner, and his art and his music's fantastic. It's visceral, but he didn't make that overnight. He had to work at that, and I'm lucky that I've seen Steve and Brian and a few other people. We've been watching each other for like over 10 years, and we're watching each other slowly improve and go in directions we weren't expecting, and it's really, I'll always put it down to, I remember my parents when I was a kid. My parents always drove shit cars. And as I got older, the cars slowly got better. And I remember that, and that has to do with everything, that it's okay to be young and not have a lot of money. As you go older and as you work harder, things hopefully will improve. They not always do, but hopefully they improve. But with your art, if you persist, you will start in some shit box and you will end up in a 1966 Mustang that's black. I guarantee it. If you persist, because fuck Lamborghinis, you want a Mustang. You want a Mustang. But you have to persist. You have to face these demons. In fact, even better, get those demons and get them singing. And when they're telling you how much you suck, you just fucking notate that shit and you turn it into lyrics. And I guarantee you that everybody that hears those lyrics will go, oh my God, yes. These lyrics, I know what you, because everyone has this baggage. I hate myself. I think what I do is shit. I should give up. I'm a fucking loser. I'm a joke. Everyone thinks that. So just keep going. Persistence and coffee. All right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So if anybody else has a last minute question, I'm going to fuck off. I've enjoyed this. I love getting together with the crew because I think through this we're all learning we are a community. And you persist and you will start having your Skype sessions with people who love your art if you keep going. So does anybody have a last minute question? How's the painting going, Mel? Melissa?
Yeah, I hear you. It's going all right. It's just me dicking around at this point.
Right?
Like,
wow. Excellent. Great. When did you start that?
when we started.
Wow. That's awesome. So if I can ask you, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
How much more detailing in your process? What else needs to happen?
Originality instead of ripping off the Scream or Starry all the time, you know.
So
I'm working on it.
Is there a process with finding that originality? How do you find that originality?
I try to just paint things and see what I like to paint. I like Vincent van Gogh's crusty, three-dimensional looking paints. Like, it's messy. It has depth because of that. So I like that, but I'm just not inspired.
Okay. Can I ask, if I may,
Sure.
do you use any other tool besides a paintbrush?
Not recently. I mean, I have used like paper towels.
Great. Because where I was going to go with that is in music, if you keep hitting the same problem, change your instrument. So could you perhaps be using a popsicle stand that you've chewed up so it's gritty on the end? Could you be using a sponge? Could you be using your fingers? Could you be using your nails? Could you be using a nail? Could you be using a syringe that's full of paint that you're like squeezing and pushing it on?
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I just try to feel out what I like in terms of painting. I like the textural look, so I'm trying to like capture that, but sometimes it ends up being very blended and gray and sad and not textural.
Okay. Do you use mixed media?
Not for paintings, no.
Okay. Can I suggest, because I put the name of David Carson, go have a look at that, because he used a lot of mixed media. He would, I was talking with Jeff about transparency paper. If you were to write on transparency paper, then push it on top of everything, or to get an already existing photo, photocopy it, put it on, and use it within.
There's an idea.
Because as a musician, we have tools like samplers. We have all of these other things that are not just, I'm going to be playing a piano right now. There's a whole bunch of different mixed media ideas that we can pull into this and try and fuck shit up with.
Good idea.
Cool. I thought.
I'll look into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any last minute questions before I once again plug? It would be so good if everybody jumped in and did this damn video. This YouTube.
The video is really fun. I think you should all do it.
Okay.
Thank you, Steph. It is fun. And it involves fake blood and falling over. And you fell over very well. I was impressed.
I did like 12 takes before I finally got a good one.
Yeah, I'd love it if you guys gave it a rip, because it's gonna be good fun. And this is
When do you need that?
about a week or two. Yeah, it could even be a bit longer, but I'll say a week or two roughly right now.
I wanna do it, but right now we don't have AC, so we all feel like we're dying here.
All right.
But I'm living with makeup artists, so I was gonna have them help me.
Oh my God! Excellent. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, yeah, and the fake blood's optional, and I put a link in there how to make fake blood. But Steve, who's doing this, I met him in Detroit, and he's so fun. And he writes these he loves gore and he loves horror. And I gotta say, the thing I love about Steve, like, because I've worked, in LA with a lot of people. Oh yeah, they make pictures and stuff, and these people are boring. Like, they're really fucking boring. Where Steve, he'll grab his camera and he'll go out and do it. And he's just wonderfully wonderful, alive ideas. And he's like, this guy won't be stopped. That's what I love about this guy. He won't be stopped. And it's like, okay, man, let's do a video. It sounds like fun. So yeah, expect gore and it's very trauma. Do you remember trauma videos from the 80s?
Oh,
Trauma
yeah.
horror, what was it? Nukem High or something, Duke Nukem and all that stuff. Yeah, it's good fun. So it will be awesome. And also Mike's stuff, The Liar, the shit he's doing is nuts. But anyway, unless anybody has a last minute question I would love to answer or entertain you with, I'm gonna fuck off.
Can I ask like a random off-topic question?
Shoot.
Okay. I've just always wondered, for 15 Seconds of Flame, did you guys write like self-owns, or was that real hate?
Ah, no, yeah. Okay, so that's a hardcore Pong song. Thank you for referencing that. That was so I wrote the music. Brian, we sort of kicked out ideas, and from those ideas I developed the music and he developed the lyrics. And then we got a whole bunch of friends to flame us as hard as they possibly could to make the most terrifying, to say the most horrible, shitty things about us that they possibly could. And we know these guys, and they're all our mates, so it's all fine. But we basically set it out and said flame us, and we took the files off their phones, cleaned them up, and put them in the song. But that's Ego Likeness, Rodney Anonymous is in it, and a whole bunch of other people as well. And I still listen to that song and I fucking lose it every time. And if you get a chance, I'll put this in. Give me a sec. The hardcore Pong. Hold on a minute. Hardcore Pong kick. All right. All right. All right. Do me a favor, copy and paste this and watch it later. So, this is the funniest. I'm so proud of this. This is the Hardcore Pong Kickstarter thing from like 5 years ago when we did Hardcore Pong. And the video, we shot for shot matched The Matrix and War Games. And I literally mean shot for shot. We lined it up shot for shot, and it's a really funny video where I look fantastic in a blonde wig, and Brian just being excellent. But it's so much fun, and it's funny. I've always wondered why haven't more people picked up on this ridiculousness? Through Hardcore Pong, I learnt this very amazing lesson that the most important weapon you have in your arsenal as a musician is comedy. And I'm not talking about cynicism, although I'm as sarcastic as fuck. Comedy is, if you want to make a point and you want to hit that point on the mark, you do it using comedy. And Brian is a master of that. And working with him on Hardcore Pong was a great experience. And he taught me that. So anyway, that's it. Unless there's any other questions. Jude's saying bye, or Jude's saying I want to talk.
Saying bye.
Oh, she's saying bye. All right. All right. Thank you all so much. Bless you. I'm going to try and do it again this time next week. But stay safe. Keep your masks on. Keep washing your hands. Keep making your art.
Zoog.
Right.